the President of the United States giving a green light to Bitcoin. Just clarify that I am more bullish than ever on Bitcoin.
You want to lose. If you want the U.S. to lose out on this, one of the most amazing innovation platforms of all times, you keep talking like that. Michael and I had a very spirited discussion yesterday afternoon about inflation as an issue, or is it ultimately going to go away? And we don't agree on everything, but one thing that I know and that we agree on is that if inflation is an issue, clearly Bitcoin is a great hedge against inflation. When we look at the deflationary impact of the various technologies around which we have centered our research, we think longer-term deflation and creative destruction associated with disruptive innovation, that's the bigger risk. And when you think about Bitcoin in those terms, you're thinking about a hedge against counterparty risk. So if we're going to have this debt deflationary bust that some still worry about out there, you've got Bitcoin as a hedge against that. So, it's, as an investor, whenever I hear win-win, I usually don't believe it. But as it is very interesting to watch the equity markets, or the investors in equity markets, treating Bitcoin and other crypto assets like they are treating the rest of tech, which is not very well of late. And to see the holding behavior in the Bitcoin community, I think, is it 70% of the Bitcoin outstanding, so roughly 13.5 million units of the 19 are in long-term holding hands, so more than 6 months. So the community gets it, and my fellow investors will get it with time, but in the meantime, it's going to be a very nice ride.
So that's a good segue to technology, because I think you're very enthusiastic about technology. I'm very enthusiastic about technology. And I think that technology is going to drive the adoption of Bitcoin more aggressively in the coming 36 months, even than it has in the last 36 months. I guess I'd like to take a moment to give a shout out to Cash App and to Kraken, because I think both of those companies have done an enormous service for the Bitcoin community by integrating Lightning into their platforms, and I think they've thrown down the gauntlet. If I put away my macroeconomic hat and just think as a technologist, if you're a technical entrepreneur, if you're a venture capitalist, and if you're trying to figure out what's the next great thing, I think it has to involve Lightning in somehow. And if I look at the industry, I think every crypto exchange, if they're going to remain viable and competitive, they need to build Lightning into their exchange. And so I hope the people that run exchanges that don't have Lightning are listening to my presentation. I think that the lesson that's being shown to all of us is, if you want to be successful, then you adopt the Bitcoin standard. And the Bitcoin standard is, you buy Bitcoin, you hold Bitcoin, you support the Bitcoin protocol, and then you support the layer 2 open source permissionless Lightning protocol, so that your company can trade and transact with all of the other hundreds, soon to be thousands, soon to be hundreds of thousands of companies in this entire asset economy at the speed of light, friction-free. Kathy, what do you think about technology trends that are going to impact Bitcoin?
Well, I agree with you on the Lightning Network. I was fascinated. We were studying the announcement this morning, and there's so much friction. There has been so much friction involved in the process that taking away some of that friction, whether it's direct deposit, you can put 2% of your paycheck into Bitcoin, or the idea that I don't need to know whether I'm on the Lightning Network or on the base layer. I can transact. I can become a part of this community and not have the friction. I think they're pulling a lot of the difficulty, complexity out. I've watched the number of Lightning channels. They're up to 84 to 90,000. That's nearly a triple over the last year. That's probably because of El Salvador. With this announcement, I think the number of channels is going to explode. The liquidity, we think, is going to go from, and I should say we, in the audience, we have Yassine Elmandra and Frank Downing, my secret weapons in terms of Bitcoin and everything crypto, for example. But we think that the liquidity, which has gone up tenfold in dollars, fourfold in Bitcoin over the last year, that's just a taste of what's going to happen now that Cash App is going to make this, make it so much easier to use the Lightning Network. And I also say follow the developers. I think we're going to see an explosion of developers focused on the Lightning Network. And so now I think this has been the missing link in terms of the use case. Store of value, yes, it's always been there. Means of exchange and unit of account now have a much better opportunity for Bitcoin to dominate long term.
I didn't mention BitPay, but I got to say I was really excited this week when I read that BitPay is also supporting Lightning, and it made me think we're in a year, right, 2022, where people are going to start to realize that not supporting Lightning is like not supporting the internet, right? If you don't support Bitcoin, you don't support sound economics or integrity. But if you don't support Lightning, it's just kind of like cutting yourself off from the internet. And it's so much so that you start to think that I don't want to do business with a company that doesn't get on board with Lightning. Like, I got to find another vendor. And I'll tell you another exciting thing about Lightning. I'm really excited about the speed and transaction velocity. I'm excited about the interoperability everywhere in the world. I'm also excited about what Lightning Labs announced this week with their Taro protocol, because if we can move USD stable coins at the speed of light over the Lightning Network, then I think the killer application in the world is going to be when 6 billion people, maybe 8 billion people, when your 3-year-old's got it, when 8 billion people run around with a mobile phone, with an Android or iOS app, and they've got a Lightning wallet, and that wallet has got some BTC in it as a store of value, and it's got some USD or Euro or CNY or whatever as a medium of exchange. And then you're going to see tens of trillions and then hundreds of trillions of dollars all moving on Lightning rails secured by the Bitcoin network. And then people are going to wake up and realize, holy crap, this stuff really is going to change the world.